Hi people, today we're going to be talking about Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, and I have to say that I completely loved this one. I read it in one day because I just couldn't put it down. Angie has this way of creating characters that are so fully fleshed out that it feels like I'm reading a biography of someone who really did exist, and she has this way of transporting me into the story, of describing the things in a way that I can picture them in my mind as if I was seeing a movie. It's amazing every time that I read one of her books, because it's like I said, I feel like I'm transported inside the story, as if I really know all the characters and as if they are real. And in this one, it was very funny and very nice to see other characters that are going to be on her other books. For me, it was like, oh look! And yeah, this is even a stellar appearance in chapter 20 of a character that's very beloved, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to say who he is, but yeah. And I also, there is like this reference to Nika Stone's Their Justice book, and having this character called Justice with a Y, it made me think, it made me feel like it was like, it's like this whole group of people who really exist, and they meet each other and they're friends, and it makes me feel like all the characters on their books can be real, and it's amazing. Here we're going to have the story of Maverick, and we more or less knew what happened to him when we retook The Hate You Give, but here we are going to have this story like the real story. We are going to be following Maverick, where he's trying to find his footing. He wants to graduate from school, but he's falling with the gangs because he says that he needs them for protection. As we knew from The Hate You Give, he has his father in prison because he was a drug dealer, and it seems like it's natural for him just to follow his footsteps because he is the son of a very important member of the gang. So, he is a young one, and he goes around with King, and they should be only selling weed, but King has found a way of being selling like major drugs. And I love how real Angie Thomas keeps things. I mean, reading this book, reading what these characters are going through, they don't have enough money to buy food. They don't have, her mom has to work 2 jobs just to stay on top of bills and everything. So you can read and understand why these characters end up trafficking with drugs and end up doing things that that can be frowned upon, but you can understand the place they are in. They need money, they need to help their families, they are put into very rough situations. Mav is going to be funding himself with a son. The baby mama is going to leave, and he's going to be going to school, working a job and taking care of a baby. So he gets very frustrated when he realizes that he doesn't have any money or any spare time, and he sees his mom struggling to make ends meet. So it's like, okay, if I did sell drugs, I will have more money. I could buy things for my baby. I could do things for the girl I love. I could help my mom pay these bills, because it's not fair that my screw up has fallen upon her. So you understand these characters, you empathize with this internal struggle they have. And he has like this Dre, who's his cousin, but it's more like a brother. He's always telling himself to get away from this life, because nothing good can come from fast money and fast living, and that he has to to begin a clean slate, where he graduates from school and where he can provide for his family in a way that that keeps him protected from the gangs and drug dealing and all of that. And when something happens to Dre, and that something happens, it's amazing again how Map is thrown into his own mind and how he feels things. And this is a struggle that he has, because he wants to be better, he wants to prove himself able to be his own man, but he is also in that place where it's very easy to be tempted by the dark side, if you want to call it that. As I say, these characters are very real, and you can understand their struggles. And that's something, the way in which Angie Thomas communicates with you the struggles of the characters is amazing. I'm not going to reveal much more of the plot, although if you have read The Hate You Give, you already know the story of Maverick. But I did love seeing it here, seeing how his relationship with Lisa evolves and how they find out that they're pregnant with who's going to be a star. And for me, that was amazing. It was like revisiting old friends, like sitting around a coffee table and have them tell me the story of back when. And that was amazing. I also did love that, as I say, Angie Thomas doesn't pull her punches, that when she has to describe people who fall into the cracks because the system doesn't provide for them, and they found themselves in very hard places, and they do wherever they think it's best for, getting money, helping their own families. And I love that you also have this different spectrum of people, like Maverick, who wants to get better and eventually gets out, King, who gets so consumed by his own hatred, or others, crime lords or gang bearers that are just stupid or greedy, or just this life is enough for them and they don't want anything else. I love that we have all these kinds of spectrum, so that you can understand all the sides of all of this. I loved this book. Also makes you think about the white supremacy and the way in which black people are treated. And there's this moment in which there's someone who says that you have to be violent, and because being black, if you go to a bank to ask for a credit, you're going to be turned out. So I also, at this moment in which Maverick's mom is telling him that if he gets pulled over, that he has to make no sudden movements, that he has to have everything on hand so he doesn't reach into his pocket. And it's the same thing that he told Stan on the Hate You Give. And it was something that I didn't know that it was real for them, for black people. And as the other books of Angie's, it makes you think about all those things that you haven't never considered because you are not in that spot or in that place. So yeah, this is an amazing book. I mean, there was moments in which I was shocked by what I read, and I wanted to cry because of the injustice of all of this. And I was ashamed for Maverick. I wanted him to be, to be able to find a way to provide for his family, take care of his son and his mom in a way that made him be his own man and not following into the steps of his father. I love that he comes, there's a lot of internal exploring here in this book when he comes to realize that he had never thought about what his father did. He only thought about the beautiful things he did, like helping the homies and all of that. But then he finds Tony, and he realizes that Tony is a crack addict because his father began that addiction with him, and he begins to think, okay, maybe one person's hero can be another person's monster, and he begins, to realize that every coin has two sides, and I love that. And also love the way in which the book is written, because it makes you understand everything. I mean, it puts you into the story, the language used, and there's this moment in which Maverick gets high, and the way in which it's written, it's like you are high with him. I don't know how to explain that. It's like you can see that he's completely blown out of his mind. So yeah, I love how cheeky he is. I love how he tries to make the best with the resources he has. And I love how he falls into this spiral when he finds a dream, and he begins this path of finding who's the guilty party for what happened to him. And I love all the evolution that he does during this moment in which he doesn't want to cry because he has to be the man and he has to protect everyone, and then he breaks and he cries and he rages, and it's an amazing character. Maverick, it's completely an stunning character, and I really need to know more about this bunch of people, about Garden High, about the Hood, about everyone. And I cannot help but realize that Angie Thomas is a fan of Tupac, obviously, and Concrete Rose. It makes me think about the book that Tupac wrote with a very similar title. It's a poems book. So yeah, I could be talking about this book, about racial injustice, white supremacy, about mistreated of people, the different, the sources some people have, and the different chances you have sometimes it depends on where you are born. You can be born in a place and you can have more resources, or you can be born in another one. So we really shouldn't judge anyone's story because we are simply not in their shoes. And if you want to read a book that's going to touch your soul and it's going to make you think a lot about lots of things, even uncomfortable things that you don't want to think about, pick this one because it's an amazing book. Thank you for watching. Bye.